Okay, let's take a look at the final boss. What is the path? Mutants, that one. That's fine. And then just a skill champ for her. Okay, that seems fine. Hmm. I should have looked at whoever the first person is. This is such a great, like, atmosphere for the start. They are runaways, and they have run very far. I am not brave enough to do voices through the whole thing. Hey, black hole. Oh, Emma's actually terrible for Kitty. That's fine. Kitty's probably annoying for a lot of these, so being able to go immune is going to be nice. I should have taken that first. Oh god. Gotta get her to that bar of power. I could have played this so much better, but that's alright. Like I said, that's why we picked somebody tanky first. Okay, is there anybody else who's actually scary on this path? It's basically White Tiger's power gain, and then that's it. Why the frick does that start with Kitty? That's so much worse. Oh. Yeah, Black Hole. The Rebirth pool is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Hey, Zephyr. Also, if that was just a few weeks ago, then I was probably pretty much finalized on what the buff was even then. I'm actually, I won't say fully responsible, but I did the design side work for all 6 of the buffs. Um, wasn't easy to fit in, honestly, but yeah, we made it happen. There will be a post about that. The line between full reworks and tune-ups is one that hasn't made a whole lot of sense in years, and so I don't really want to answer that directly because it's probably going to lead you to drawing lines that don't exist. They are generally intended to be mild reworks, but I don't want to restrict them to tune-ups either because there are mechanics changes. Really thought I parried that. He came out of nowhere. And see, that's exactly what I mean, Alfie, because a whole lot of people, including, I think, us, every time we have tried to define it, have said that small kit changes take something out of a tune-up. Because a tune-up is generally considered to be numbers changes, not mechanics changes. So that's exactly why I pushed back in the first place. Like, those terms don't have the same meaning across different people, and so it's not really a great idea to try and hold them. No idea, Retton. No idea. Hey, Scooty. Yeah, it's going pretty well. Um, Honestly, we've been stronger, but you know, we're working on it. See, this. Sorry, Alpha, you are triggering me today. This is exactly what I mean. Like, that is not a fair dichotomy. Black Panther was a very extensive buff. Dang it. I always forget that this is biohazard, not just, like, hit them. The lack of crits are brutal. I do appreciate that you like the Black Panther buff. I am proud of that one. This is exactly why I don't like those terms. And see, then Zephyr authoritatively says they're getting minor tune-ups. What the absolute heck does minor tune-ups mean in your mind, Zephyr? I can't. Who's next? Okay, let's not pick somebody who does nothing against Witch. Um, I don't really want to say similar because I don't know the details of everything Black Hole, but that is where the naming comes from, yes. Sorry, 1 second. Actually, this was charging all night. I can probably leave it unplugged. Did I like the war map changes? How is it accepted in Master Circles? I personally loved it. It was nice with summer travel plans. So I wouldn't want that to be what Tier 1 is all the time. I think it was a really successful experiment overall. And I think it was mostly fun, even in Tier 1. I just don't think it should be the default there. I'd be pretty comfortable with it being the default all the way down below that, though. Like, at least up to Tier 4 or something. Nice, Alfie. Congrats to y'all. Yeah. I think the biggest failure of the experiment was actually that if you get far enough down, people don't even place those 10 defenders. That was one of the biggest lessons for us, I think. But we can work around that. Not Negasonic. Or I guess I could use Negasonic as long as it's not against a skill champion. Yeah. I don't really do ratings like that, Alfie. Negs is fun. He's not the most in demand for the current game, but he's very good. Yeah, that was... Oh, that's awful. Played this incredibly poorly. I haven't really thought about that particular decks in a while, and so I'm just not ready for it. That's alright, we'll heal on the next one. Alright, I'm gonna consider that a warning. MCOC, like, your name is already aggressive. If you're also going to yuck other people's yums, then I don't want you here. So let's adjust that humor real quick. Thanks, Walrus. I appreciate it. All right, second warning. There won't be a third. Probably 60, Walrus. Not having looked in a bit. I'm not 100% sure. Take care, Alfie. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, dang it, every time. I should have just thrown. It's really frustrating how difficult it is to reliably build prowess with him when you don't have high charges, but I also need to remind myself that you really don't need it. No, Zephyr. For a full month out, they were just teased. Ain't leaking crud. This might not have been a good choice for her. Nice, Zephyr. Yeah, I can't remember if I actually took Gallon up or if I was just thinking about it, but he'll be soon. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, let me actually count. 3, 4, 5. Alright. Yeah, I can use the big guns now. Always forget. Hey, warrior. Hey, Anthony. It's fine by me. Yeah, just a chill Friday stream. Thanks, warrior. Good luck. Hope you get what you want from the clear. Not hidden block. Not doing it. There we go. That's how you do that. Only done one path of Necro. Scared to do the pass because I don't do well with long fights. I mean, you don't have to hit yourself too hard on that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're really bad at the game, because like that kind of endurance fight is a different skill, right? Like I also push back a little bit when people say it's a skill they just don't have, because I think it's one that can be honed. But like you can be solid at this game and not be comfortable in long fights. That's fine. It's just something to work on, in my opinion. The lag ain't pretty, but those were some nice numbers. Best relic, I generally just use Storm and reduce the opponent's energy resist. None of the current relics really synchronize all that well with her. Thanks, wait, happy 4th. I overfarmed for chapter 3 and I did it in 10 times. So I've talked about this a few times. Like, part of the answer might just be that we were a little off, to be perfectly honest. But we kind of had to make some tough choices there where some of the pools for chapter 3 technically have better options, and so if you have a larger roster, it's going to feel easier. It did for me too. But a lot of those options are a little bit harder to get. They've either been, like limited release or paywalled, or like there's something. I guess that's really most of it, right? Or they're very new, which kind of counts as limited release. And so what we were trying to do was think long term and think broadly, so that the quest would feel approachable by developed accounts now, developing accounts now, and then also people playing it in the future, because we want it to age okay. I know the rewards will fall off, but like it's still a rank 4. And so we were trying to maintain some kind of 1, 2, 3 progression across that. And given the restrictions of using existing tags as opposed to creating bespoke pools for literally every single fight, which would have been a whole lot of work and a little bit harder to communicate. Yeah, we just knew that it was going to not feel like a 1, 2, 3 for some people, and the most developed accounts were some of those. That's pretty much where that is. That was weird. Hey, Omega. Hope you're doing well. Get some good rest. Thanks for dropping in, Pablito. Yeah, the stream is definitely working. I think I told some of y'all who were here for the last failed attempt that the Wi-Fi that I've got in this new place is great. But I learned some things about Wi-Fi 6 versus 6E, all that kind of stuff. And basically, in my tower computer, my Wi-Fi card that I had been using for a long time was Wi-Fi 6, which wasn't a problem where I used to be because I had a wired connection. But here, it became a problem. So I ordered a 6E card, which only set me back about 40 bucks. And my upload speed, which is obviously very important to streaming, literally went up an order of magnitude. I went from 31 megabits per second to 3200, or sorry, to 329. Huge, huge difference. So, would recommend. Oh, this was a very bad idea. That's fine. Regen this, buddy. All right. Morning, Arctic. Hey, Mookie. Aj, welcome. Don't know if I'm able to comment or even if I could. Do I know when they will release general ticket info for the Brawl? Yeah, I don't know that. I hope it will be soonish. I don't know if they've said this, so apologies if this is an announcement. But I do know there will be a cost to the tickets. I don't think it will be steep, but it's just because, again, peek behind the curtain. 2 years ago when we did the Brawl, we had, I don't know how many, but a lot of people say they were coming and purchase the free tickets and then not show up. Yeah, fair enough, Pablo. I did know it was you. If that makes sense. That's awesome, Travis. Thanks. Happy sig level? I don't know, honestly. I tend to tune my champions. At least one of the curves always uses kind of the standard curve that we use for SIGs, which means that SIG 60 is a good inflection point. But I also try and make sure that something always scales well to 200. So that's probably going to be your answer. Yeah, no, I hear you, Dilly. I think there will be some limited attendance, but we're trying to make sure enough people can come that it doesn't feel too limited. I think that's fair to say. Right, he purged them off himself. Forget this every time. You get the Furies, but nothing else. Alright, let's go to the special 2 then. Yeah, my personal Nico is at 120 at the moment, as a comparison. I needed to do some prestige work on the way. Yeah, Warrior, I understand it's a little bit tricky, but it does work on some other stuff. You're talking about that bullet in particular, that is mainly for those kinds of things. But the other bullet works on like trauma and those kinds of things. I'm gonna be honest, Mookie, I hate these questions, but I'm gonna look for you. Because that is a targeted enough question. Okay, where's Crossbones Curve? He gets to 60% Purify chance at Sig 60, so I think that's probably what my answer is. Like, obviously better is better, but that's a pretty decent chance. That works. It's not within my power, Corrupted. Yeah, 7-star Viv's gonna be fun. There have been a number of fights over the last few years where I've wanted to assign her in war, but haven't really been able to justify it at the rank disparity. Wait, why did I click replay? Alright. Leave. What order would I feed those champs? Probably. I mean, it depends on a lot of things, but Vacuumancer, Spider Woman, Jean, Gentle, Bastion. It's gonna be interesting to see how y'all react to Voodoo. I'm gonna be completely honest. We'll get there when we get there. I'm pretty darn happy with how it turned out, but there are gonna be faults. Okay, so we just seriously want anti-miss. Okay, we can do that. There's a Modoc, there's a Guardian. Yeah, and there's this Medusa. This one has some harder defenders. I think she's still rank 1, but she'll be fine for this. We can go ahead and start with that. Hey, Easy, how's it going? So, couple things about Cull. First off, stat focus is a thing. Second off, I think a lot of people think his block proficiency is actually lowered on purpose or anything. He just has standard big boy block proficiency, which feels bad in a lot of places, but it's not nearly as bad as people think. I appreciate that in retrospect. Wait. Um, that's not really true, Strange, or at least it wasn't the intent. Viv has the most minor changes out of the six. That I do feel comfortable saying. Her stuff is mostly bug fixes. There were a few things we found that were holding her back. There is one thing that we can't call a bug fix, but it's still pretty minor. So for the most part, you're getting the Viv you know and love at 7 star with access to stat focus. Dormammu is a power scaler, confirmed. What would constitute a 5 out of 5 utility champ? It. So I don't want to like give specific abilities. I don't really think that that's helpful here. But I will say that like building a 5 out of 5 utility champ is very difficult because to get away with that in a way that doesn't break the game, you're probably going to have to make significant concessions on both damage and survivability. And then you tend to get player complaints, right? It's a tough one. Like we've shipped characters that are definitely close to 5 in utility, and they often go underappreciated because people go, "Well, yeah, but I don't need those 10 amazing things in one character because I have other characters that can do one or two of them at a time, and they go boom, and I really like when things go boom." And that makes it a little bit difficult to sell 5 out of 5. So it's not that we won't ever do it, but yeah, definitely a tough design challenge. Okay, Spider Woman peeps, help me out here because I forget. Does her retribution go through block, or do I need to line that one up? I guess it doesn't matter right now. No, it doesn't look like that goes through it. Okay, so I should have done this a little bit. Oops! Okay, I think we're back. There's our first hiccup of the stream because OBS had a little fit. But no, generally the Battlegrounds metas are almost all designed by the same person, and that person is not me. And so I would not really want to be dipping my toes into that for something that high profile. Sounds like a great way to get a lot of people upset with me. Hey, Bobs, thanks. Theme first or function first? A bit of both. And that's going to depend on designer, but I know you asked about me. For me, I probably am a little bit more function first. Um, to a point, right? Like I knew with Nico that we wanted to play with buff immunity, but I also knew that it was a very powerful thing that is like you can't make too weak or it feels useless, but you also need to be careful with how strong it is. And so it was inherently a good fit for a character with the Staff of One because I knew already that the flavor, the theming of the Staff of One was going to lead towards limited use abilities. Very early on, I knew that was going to be limited use pre fights, right? Um, Similarly, I had been wanting to play with adrenaline for a while. It first came up when I was building Patriot, and I was like, "Ooh, this would be nice." We need more tech for it though, and so I was looking for a place to use adrenaline somewhere on somebody, but I don't think I had to stretch to make it work on Nico because, what am I saying? Oh, right, because she's a blood mage, right? And so I think that's a really easy fit for adrenaline. It's kind of similar with all of them. Jean was maybe a little bit more function than theme because I knew I wanted to do something like Uncanny. That had been on my docket for a while. I felt like the mutant class needed that. And we knew we wanted to expand Daunted. We knew we wanted to expand Neuroshock, but I also, again, was not stretching things at all to have Jean use Neuroshock. That was an easy win. Delirium was an easy thing, even as we wanted more reverse controls within Mutant to make the immunities in tech feel better. Yeah, it's like the answer is basically both. Because we always have things we want to do with the classes, and I am very, very hooked into that side of things. It's part of my workflow. And so, like, the function always comes to mind quickly, but I also don't think that we really force these things into characters for the most part. And so the theme matters quite a bit too, right? Like which characters get daunted to reinforce that, and which characters get prowess to reinforce that older identity. It comes down to a theming thing, right? It's not an accident that Jean got daunted and Scott got prowess. Oh no, it's complicated, but hopefully that helped. I need to be paying attention to the next characters before I go. Okay, excuse me. Hmm. Okay, that time dilation hasn't caught me in a little bit, but it definitely did there. Hey, Saloy, thank you. Glad to hear it, Arctic. You already said hi, Ryan. You do know that, right? But I've said before, that's rebalancing Patriot is not my job, but I was part of the conversation. And I got you. Happy to see you. Sorry, I hate dealing with Shuri, specifically with Photon. It's a fantastic matchup, but the timing on the specials is something that gets to me if I'm not careful. Yeah, Clobbs is correct. It's just all of the above. If there's conflicting information, then we try and fix that, right? But like, there's not a better answer than all of the above. I would say that I would probably put the website as the ultimate source of truth. I think that is the thing that gets the most attention. And that would probably be followed by forums and then the live stream. The live stream is going to be where a lot of stuff is heard for the first time, but I personally put it last simply because humans are fallible. And if you misspeak while you're drafting a forum post or a website article, it's easy to change it. If you misspeak while you're speaking live, it is a lot harder to clean that up. And so I would be really, really careful. Like the live streams are about getting information to people, and they are as careful as they can possibly be, but they're not going to be perfect. And so I would always try and take live streams a little bit with a grain of salt, as like it's possible that you misunderstood something, especially if the way you think you misunderstood it gives you a strong reaction, right? Yeah, so if there's a conflict, I would say default to the website for the most part and then the forums. But obviously, we're going to try and avoid conflicts. That's not something I know very well, Saloy, sorry. But if anybody else in chat feels like they know good recruiting spots, feel free to help them out. I'm glad you're happy with an Arctic. We will know soon. But the other big thing about this game and information that I think it's important to note is that, like, there's not going to be perfect information. And there's a number of factors to that, right? Like, yes, and I think you all know this, there is a certain amount of, like, gacha games do profit from you not having all of the information all of the time. But that's not really what I'm talking about. there's also like certain teams. Sorry, this is kind of a complex conversation, and I probably shouldn't have started this fight to talk about it. Um, Give me a second to think. Whoops. Okay. So, what am I trying to say about this? There is a certain amount of information that will, a very, very small amount of information that will be held back just because it's not good for us to tell y'all everything the second we know it, right? Like, we know what's going to be in the 4th of July sale. Like, that's locked in April, right? We could tell you. It would be bad for us, right? Because if people knew exactly what was coming, then they would be weighing that against every other transaction on the way, and it would be bad for revenue. That is self-serving of us. We all know that, but that is also like logical, right? Macy's doesn't tell you exactly which pieces of furniture are going to go exactly how on sale ahead of a particular sale, right? Like your local burger place doesn't tell you, well, actually, maybe you should get this burger this week because that one is going to be $3 off next Wednesday when we run a special promotion for it, right? Like, we're not evil in that, that's just kind of like standard. So I do need to establish there's a certain amount of that, and we can kind of put that aside, right? I think a lot of the places where y'all don't have perfect information is less because of that and more because there is so much going on in this game. There's so many moving parts that we have to pick and choose when we tell you things in balance with everything else. If we tell you who the new champions are next month, then you might get too focused on that and you might miss this thing over here. If we tell you about that mode now, then the conversation might pass by this other thing that's actually coming out first. And there's so much information to consume that we have to spend a lot of effort picking and choosing when things go out, and we're not always going to agree on why, and there's a chance that we're just going to make the wrong choice some of those times. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it comes down to, is just it's nice to have as much information as possible. I agree as a player, but I think just existing in a community like this, you kind of have to accept that there are limits on how much you know and when. We're doing our best. We really are. We're trying to communicate as many things as we can as early as possible. And like that is, I'm telling you from the perspective of a dev who sees those discussions. Like the community team generally likes to tell or like give news earlier when they can, but they have to balance that against things actually being done, right? Because if the community team comes out and says, all right, this is what's coming and here's all of the information, and then, oh, actually, there was a QA pass after that and they found that there's this problem and that problem, actually the best way to resolve it is to slightly change the tuning of this thing over here, and oops, now we nerfed it after we told you about something, right? Like, that's a little bit of an edge case, but because it can happen, we kind of have to be careful as a team to wait until things are finalized for us to hand them off to community, and then community has to play that song and dance where they're like, all right, we have 10 things to tell the players, and they kind of all need to be communicated in the next 12 days. How do we parcel this out? It's I think I'll leave it there. And let's go into the next fight, which I have no idea what it is. Yeah, I like when single hit heavies and multi hit heavies both have their use. Probably best to just not talk about it, Warrior. That's a good question, AJ, and I don't know the answer. My guess is that you could probably ask support to swap it out, but I really don't know. I mean, the units part of that, Daniel, is probably more a bug than a feature. Like, I know players would love to always have enough units on hand to get all of the stuff in a massive sale for free. It is very bad for us if you can do that for all of the sales. Like, I'm going to be completely honest there. You shouldn't be able to do that. Yes, the team is very aware, Swarley, and that's a weird one because my team, which does a lot of the like player-facing coding, can't fix it. Everything is hooked up correctly. Everything is hooked up the same way it was when that content was released, and something broke anyway. So we're working with engineers to get on that. Trauma dump. You're entitled to your opinion, Jenk. Like, it's not a price tag that you're required to hit or you just leave, right? It's a ceiling. We can talk about tuning and all that kind of stuff and, what it says, the increasing availability of units over time, etc., etc., etc. But, like, ultimately, it's tuning because I don't think that there is a, like, morally correct amount of units to be a ceiling. I understand, easy. I see the complaint about the backloading a lot. I do think it's a bit overblown. There's a lot of good stuff up front. It's just not the shiny top tier stuff, right? But, like, I'm also telling you, looking at the tuning documents, the ratio of, like, what that stuff is worth relative to what we're charging for it, not that much worse at the front. You're still getting good stuff. It's mostly that the dopamine isn't there. And that it's not moving the needle on the very biggest stuff. I do understand that, but, like, you can get an awful lot just buying through the 1, 2, 3 once. You don't need to go to 39K. Like, that 39K price tag, almost a fourth of it. Actually, no, more than a fourth of it is that last 9,500, right? Or 9,750, whatever it is. And that deal is pretty skippable. I did skip it. Okay, show me on the doll jank where we're charging $500 for a 7-star Nexus. And it better be only a 7-star Nexus, or otherwise you're not being honest. Because I gotta tell you, there are a few things that trigger me faster than people picking one item out of a whole slew of items and saying that we are charging the sticker price for the one thing, right? If you buy a $20 combo meal at a restaurant, you are not paying $20 for the frickin' soda. And I will not stand for any implication of it. Yep, okay. You're not being honest, Jenk. You're not being honest at all. You are adding up the entire cost of tier 1, 2, 3, and 4 and looking at one, the least valuable of three possible rewards at the end, and you are ignoring everything else. Am I supposed to take that seriously? Come on, man. Everything else you get for 18,000 units. That's what you're ignoring. Oh, you're looking at the bonus event? Yeah, no, sorry. The only I know laughter is rude and triggering, but I don't know how else to respond. Okay, for those who aren't following along, what Jenk is doing is looking at the freebies at 18,000 and saying that this is all you get. When, as a reminder, the only way to spend units on Heatwave tiered offers is to spend those units on other stuff that Jenk is ignoring. It is not possible to spend 18,000 units on literally just those items. So full of it, dude. That is hilarious. Everybody hear that? You hear the goalposts being moved? Because a second ago, it was you're spending 18,000 units on a 7-star Nexus, and now it's, well, the stuff you're buying with that 18,000 units isn't worth it. Bro. You were originally talking about it being backloaded. That didn't stop you from making a claim that was patently false. Like, you offered as justification for your claim that it was backloaded something that was just ridiculous. Like, I can't, dude. I can't. No, Daniel, I think so there's a couple layers here. The most important is that free-to-play players are not supposed to keep up. I know that people really don't like it when I say that, but there is no other way to spin it. Free-to-play players have never kept up with the bleeding edge of the game. I've been playing this game since it came out. I know what I'm talking about. They have never actually kept up. That has never changed. And they keep complaining that it's getting worse and it's getting worse and it's getting worse, but it doesn't really. The reality is they haven't kept up and they're still not keeping up. And that is how these games work, right? That is the only way these games work. Because I think you missed it when I was talking about this last time, Dan. But you have to remember that like, let's follow through the chain of events here for a minute. For this game to continue to function, for it to be there at all, for people to play for free, it has to make money, right? For it to make money, people have to spend on it. For people to spend on it, it has to make sense for them to spend on it. For it to make sense for them to spend on it, they have to get something for their spending. If they get something for their spending, they have an advantage. If they have an advantage, then other people can't keep up. I think people way overstate the gap widening. Because when people talk about this stuff, like, to use Jenk as an example here, people talk about how much the ceiling goes up. The focus is on 18K to 39K, which, by the way, completely ignores that units are way more available and easier to earn in game now than they were when it was 18K. Huge problem with the logic that people just keep leaping past. But looking at that, people love to look at how much the ceiling goes up and they ignore that the floor is also going up. If you are talking about a gap widening, you have to be talking about a relative distance. You have to be looking at the distance between the ceiling and the floor. And we have been giving out so much stuff for free. Content is more rewarding than it used to be. There are more high-level champions given out for nothing. There are more high-level champions earnable, right? I don't really think that the gap has widened the way that people keep talking about. I'm gonna keep playing for a little bit. I'm not saying you're not valid in feeling like it's getting away from you, Daniel. I'm saying I think you're wrong. I am allowed to disagree with you and think you are wrong and present evidence for all of that without invalidating your feelings. I know that, like, we see that kind of stuff all the time, but like, please don't pull that. I'm not gaslighting you because I'm arguing a different point. Yeah, I've heard that complaint too, Black Hole, and I get it. But again, that's kind of part of the point. It's not good for us if people feel like they can spend their units on literally nothing except a giant sale once per year. That's not healthy for the game. Especially because remember, the original point of units was to spend them on things in the game. On energy, on potions, on boosts. And I'm not saying that you aren't allowed to make the choice between spending on completing content and saving for sales. But it does always stick out to me when people say that content is too hard because they had to dip even a little bit into their unit stash to get a bunch of really good rewards because they're saving for a sale, and then they get to a sale and they go, why am I not getting enough stuff for my units? Because we're trying to put more in the content. It's frustrating. It's okay, Double P. This is part of why people come. And I know that. Okay. Modoc and Miles, keep those in mind. I don't have that many left. I can start going. Let's keep Torch for Miles. That'll work. Come on, buddy. Didn't feel like I could do that one safely. There are truly free-to-play players in Masters, Daniel. It's tough. But they do exist. There are free-to-play players up in at least Mysterium, and I think in Celestial. Unfortunately, and I realize this probably isn't landing well. I'm not trying to make you feel worse, but like if you are not as strong as those players and you're not spending, it's going to be tough to compete as high. I don't think there's a way around that because like success in this game is a combination of investment and skill. And that investment is itself a combination of time and money. And if you could play a lot more battlegrounds, you probably would get higher, right? But like I know you probably don't have time for that. The same way that you probably don't have time to grind a lot more units. And I'm sure that's because of the pressures of capitalism in the real world, which I am sensitive to. I would like to be able to afford a whole lot more things myself. And so I have a lot of sympathy for you. What I'm pushing back on is specifically that as far as the decisions that we are making as a design team, I don't feel like we're being predatory. I don't feel like the gap is widening. I feel like the ceiling is going up, yes, but so is the floor, and we are doing a lot to make sure that people can play and can keep up, but defining keep up in a way that you clearly are not. And it's okay if we disagree there, but unfortunately, I think this is where we need to draw that line because we are also subject to the pressures of the real world. Then it's probably a certain amount of the skill element too, honestly. Because and that's not me saying get good, but like there are ways to move around, like to get better at drafting and to like build your deck in ways that are a little bit more resilient. And like I'm sure you can beat those guys. It's just it's something that you're gonna have to keep working on. And unfortunately, that's something there I can completely agree. I'm not the person to come to because I'm not that good at battlegrounds. um, you are happy to hang out here, and I'll give any kind when I do battleground streams. I'll give whatever insight I can, but I'm the authority there, and I am sorry that you're unemployed. Yeah, I feel on that. I think I've said this on stream before, so I don't mind sharing, but like, yeah, my wife's been through a fair amount of that recently as well. And so yeah, hurts with you, dude, and I hope that changes soon. It's rough out there at the moment. Thanks, Dilly. I really appreciate the super chat, my friend. We are currently unpacking, as I think I've mentioned, we did unpack some of our booze last night. I'm looking forward to that part. Thanks for being a member, Mookie. I appreciate you. Anyway, I need to finish this particular quest so I can go eat. I don't mind the conversation. It is a large part of why we're here. Yeah, of course, Dan. Thanks for the gift membership as well, Mookie, and welcome to the club, Cashew. The move is ongoing. Our mattress arrives tomorrow. And we still don't have a rug downstairs to go under our new couch, but I do really like the couch, and things are coming along. We don't have hot water. That is my primary complaint. And that is a complaint both for the showers and because I want to wash a bunch of things in the sink, and certain kinds of things kind of need hot water for the wash. C'est la vie. But it's coming along. Oh dang, thanks, Cloud. I really appreciate you. Now I gotta put out another members only video. Keep that worth it. I have to record the, what is it? The Maker and High Evolutionary videos, but after that, I've got some stuff. This is my subtle way of asking for more members only vids. Well then, message received. Welcome everybody. It's effective. Hi, Finn. Didn't see you there. I don't think I'd seen Kevin or So High by there, so welcome. I should have let him throw earlier. Okay, we only lost one. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I thought they did have to be present. That's interesting. Okay. Huh. Well, thanks anybody watching this back later who is not in the stream right now for watching my stream so much. Including you, Dan. I hope y'all enjoy the videos. Okay, Modok. Probably Titania, right? And so it begins. I think I just heard a firework. Oh wait, this is Miles. Ah! Okay, well, that's gonna feel terrible. I guess we're using Torch for Modok. I've gotten so many Abdo memberships while I'm out there. That's funny. I know he's gonna go into Spider Spider Camo and I'm gonna lose all the stuff, but hopefully this just kills. It didn't kill. Why did that do so little damage? You have to opt into it in your YouTube settings, but beside that, it's free reign. Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. Anyway, thanks again to all the members and the member sponsors. I appreciate it. Okay, maybe we have something to open from Battlegrounds here before I'm done. No reason not to use torches pre-fight in this kind of quest. Good old potato head. Oops, that was my fault. Been getting a lot of gifted. Been watching too many streams. Nah, I appreciate it. I'm glad it works that way then. That's cool. Because I always thought it was random, but based off watch time is better, right? It's a way to grind for access to members only videos. Okay, Squirrel Girl. Anti-miss. Okay, we're just gonna use Gene. Why would we not use Gene? I've seen the code for his current scaling, and it's so dumb. I'm kind of amazed that you bothered to work it out. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love that it even means the same thing that it did in Emperor's New Groove. Emperor's New Groove. Bravo, Tyler. What is wrong? Oh my god, the Rivals reference. Do I think it's possible to get through one Deathless Necro run with rank 3 She-Hulk and rank 2 Unawakened Thanos? Or should I rank up Guillotine 2? Yeah, She-Hulk can do it on her own. It kind of depends on how comfortable you are and the resources you're willing to spend. I think I'd if you can rank up Guillotine to rank 2. There were a few places where she was useful, like Arcus, where I did have her rank 2, so that's enough. If you have the ability to do another rank 3, then Thanos can put in a lot of work. But if you don't, then yes, I think what you have can do it. It's funny, Club. Yeah, Psycho Man just sucks. That's one where I would want Thanos. I also went the other direction, so you have that option. But I know a lot of people. I didn't mean to go for the special 3, but this works. Yeah, it was definitely overkill. We could have gone special 1, special 1, special 2, and it probably would have finished it, but I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. My power got too high. Okay. Let's see what we got. I don't think I'm anywhere close to a Titan, right? Actually, that's the other question is, should I even open another Titan? I don't know if I will. Nice. Yeah, I'll take it. I didn't crush it in Battlegrounds, but good stuff. I don't think that quite gives me... Yeah, I'm just short. I mean, I could do it this way, but I don't think I want to do that. It gets kind of expensive there at the end. I'll wait for one more week of AQ, and then I'll be able to do this. And then I'll take up, I don't know, somebody, maybe Quicksilver. It's probably going to be Quicksilver, because he would be a good future prestige investment as well, even though I don't like his SIG, and that kind of kills me. We'll see, I'll think about it. Could be Onslaught, could be Elena. I don't think it's going to be Onslaught, because I already have 3 rank 4 mutants. Oh, that's aimed at me? Yeah, I know, I know. I know I've been missing out on the side quest stuff, but... Ah, well. I have limited time. I think to... Okay, nothing in particular. I could get some Titan shards, but let's do a quick recounting. I have Bastion now. I used a tech gem on him. I have Cyclops duped a couple times. I have Spider-Woman duped. I have Yelena duped. I have Jean duped. I have Gallon, and he doesn't need the dupe. I have Joaquin duped. I have Okoye duped. I have Gentle unduped. But I could awaken him if I needed him. I have Zola. I have Dazzler duped. I have Spidey Supreme. He's not duped, but that's not a high priority for me. I think I'm done with this Titan. Because I'm not really a hoarder, but once it gets to that point, why bother, right? Especially the oldest pool. I have Jack, I have Rintra, I have Hitmonkey, I have Red Hulk, I have Spiral, I have Scream. Yeah, I'm gonna hold. Is my Jack duped? No, he is. Okay, that must have happened sometime last week. And then, yep, Crit Monkey's duped too. Red Hulk probably isn't. Is not. Yeah, I'm not burning Titan shards on a Red Hulk Awakening. Okay. Well, what I can do today, if I haven't... Nope, I took him to rank 3 too. Okay, so there's not much I can do today. Not without being inefficient. Is Thanos viable on Awaken for Necro? Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, that's how everybody does it, right? Um, so I have a stream somewhere of doing the Necro path, and I did the right side path. Totally up to you if you want to do that. I did that because I designed Thanos' synergies to make it possible, and I kind of wanted to prove it. But yeah, you can go either way, but I did stream, and you should be able to find it in the playlists. The full path with Thanos and She-Hulk at rank 3, and Gilly and Vision at rank 2. I would definitely save the gem, um, because you're going to get a copy of him at the end anyway, right? So you might as well hold. There's no alternate there. Nice gloves. That'd be a cool one too. Yeah, I definitely don't regret taking the path I did. There are a few hard fights on it. Null, in particular, is a bear. But I also had fun. So, grain of salt. For the record, I do understand the backload because I am not buying this. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's why a lot of my alliance mates are now ahead of me in rank 4s. But I don't think I want to spend that much on it. Is there anyone in this I don't have? Or I guess it wouldn't matter because it would just be something else. Yeah, it would do like... If I did this, it would probably be this. But then it'd be saving the Titans, and so maybe it would actually be one of these. I don't know. I'm not doing it. If you come back and see me at 0 units, you know that I caved, but I'm going to try not to do that. Because I don't need it, right? It's good, not that critical. Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out. Lots of good discussion today. Enjoy the 4th if you celebrate. Enjoy Friday if you don't. And I will catch you all later. Jack 35K is the current line. Hey, Jason. Happy to see you. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.